Hello, hello, hello. Planet Earth, can you hear me? Connection established.
Been working in the studio all day pretty much with Castle, with the K. The day before that, I flew back home from Seattle and was pretty much in the studio all day with one of my production partners, Flinch.
One of the reasons that we were contacted is because of your involvement with the public record. And in your introduction video for that, I don't know why I was surprised to see this, but you're guessing with kind of underground and dance that there's not a massive amount of music theory behind what you do, but you clearly know your stuff. How did you kind of get from there to here?
I kind of started off playing in bands and stuff like that, and I took a couple theory and musicianship classes when I was much younger. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, when you're in a band with a bunch of people and then having to depend on everyone to be focused on the same idea, it's kind of hard. I noticed that, you know, if you produce your own stuff, you didn't have to worry about, you know, band meetups and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's always tough, isn't it? So you're working in the studio a lot at the moment. Can you give me a kind of rough idea of your setup? I saw a little bit of gear in the background of the TPR intro video, but I was guessing. Did I see a virus in there somewhere? Yeah,
I've got an old virus. I got the Virus 2B. It's from the days when I was producing drum and bass and stuff like that, and I was the sound I was really looking for. I've got EMU 4XT. It's kind of dinosaur right now, but that's like my sampler.
Yeah.
And I've got a Motif, Motif 6, and I've got a what's that? Got a Roland, got a JP 800.
Okay.
So everything's pretty much old, but I stay mostly inside the box. I use whatever plugins I can get my hands on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because, I mean, you know, the bass is obviously a massive part of your sound, and you have kind of quite a distinct bass sound. It's kind of got a didgeridoo vibe. Was that kind of what you were aiming for?
The vibe I was really going for was kind of reminiscent of like sidechain electro, I guess. I wanted to just pretty much use a square or saw lead and make sure that whenever the kick and the snare came in that it was ducking. So It sounds like, you know, pretty much like electro. So like instead of it being 4/4 sidechain, like yeah, I would just sidechain the 1, the 3, and the 4. So it would be like yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you're using the sidechain for the articulation. That's interesting.
Yeah, for the articulation, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I guess that makes it sound kind of like a didgeridoo, really, because a lot of the sounds are drony and long and carried out, but they're getting pumped whenever the kick comes in.
Ah, yeah, I got you. So are you one of the Native Instrument Massive posse, or you got something else up your sleeve for the bass?
I definitely use Massive and FM8. Those are like my two favorite Native plugs, but I use a lot of synths, like the Leonard Digital Silent. I like that a lot. The UHE Ace synth, I really like that a lot. Quick Quack Glass Viper, I like that a lot. Aspect, Loomer. The Circle synth, I like that too.
Oh, you use that? I've not tried that. It's supposed to be really cool.
Yeah. Sugar Bites Unique, I use that a lot too.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, basically whatever I can get my hands on, and I like to layer them all together. Like I'll try and go for, you know, let's say if I'm looking for a specific sound, a saw sound, I'll use that one, and then I'll layer that saw with like another saw from like, you know, like a Dave Smith emulator or like the Pro 52 or something, and then just keep layering until I get like the right sound.
Do you your final mixes at your place, or do you go outside? What do you generally do?
I normally do the mixing myself, mostly because I can't really afford a mastering house.
I got. And what are you using for monitors? Because that's really crucial. Because obviously you need to read the bass, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, ideally I'd love to get some Dynaudios or some like Blue Sky or Tannoys, but I got some old Event 2020s, and I A and B those with this set of M Audio monitors with subwoofer that I use.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And I've got a big room. It's hard to really tune it.
Do you check a lot of your stuff out on the dance floor just to sort of maybe tweak a mix after that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I try and use the first plays as kind of like the benchmark of where it's going to be, and if I get a good initial reaction, or if the shock value is good, I think that the mix is probably going to be good too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if the song like sonically or acoustically sounds good and it's ripping there, I think that the song's ready to go. But that's usually how I guess A, B, and C my tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess most of us have to make do with the car, but you've got like a huge, massive PA system at a club night.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't have a car, so the only other way to hear the songs is if I play them in the club.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to do it. I mean, the first couple of times you do that, it's pretty terrifying because you can be so wrong down there sometimes, can't you?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I guess it's from years of trial and error.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you up to now then? You're just about to go on tour. I mean, how's the public record project been going?
The public record project was awesome. It was cool to like get to, kind of just put out a drum loop and let the world kind of take the tune in whatever direction. I got some cool sounding stuff from people, and I got to hear people's approaches that I would have never even thought of, like, making a sound that was like that. At the same time, too, there was a lot of, there's a lot of content that was
provided.
A lot
of work, I'd imagine.
Yeah. A lot of the parts, even if they didn't get used on this one project, I have a very, very good feeling I'm going to use them soon.
So when's that going to see the light of day? That track's going to come out?
I'm hoping, like, when I get back from tour, I'm going to have enough time to, like, really sit down and concentrate on everything.
Yeah.
And I've also been in a limbo of, like, what to do with the project, whether or not to finish it myself or take advantage of the fact that two of the project winners live in, like, the Los Angeles area.
Ah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I might, like, have those two winners come over to my house, and then we all just work on the project together, and then maybe document it, and film it and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's still all up in the air right now.
Your brand of dubstep, which is kind of massive, really on the growth at the moment, although I've been watching a lot of your interviews, you still seem to be the ambassador saying, what is dubstep? And you're kind of explaining it. Nonetheless, your style of it, it's such a broad spectrum of things. I mean, you got the kind of the dub kind of side, but then your side is really electro, and some of the stuff that you did, like the Jinga and Rusko and those guys, it's actually really quite mainstream now. It sounds, and I mean that in a good way, it's like really kind of appealing to maybe more of a pop audience, and so lots of people are hearing your stuff. Are you finding that it's becoming more accepted?
I wouldn't say it's becoming more accepted per se. The easiest way to say it is, like, you've been making music in a dark room for a bunch of guys for about 5 or 6 years, and maybe you want some girls to come into the show sometimes, so the sounds kind of change. I guess you could say, it's getting more poppy. It's not like turning Britney Spears.
No, of course. Like, I mean, that's not what I mean. But I think that with any kind of stuff that's underground, there's always a resistance for any kind of commercial success, because there's this whole thing about selling out. But hey, you got to make a living. That's the whole you sort of need to live, and if you can live by your art, that's the best way to be, surely.
Yeah. Agreed.
Do you work on music while you're on the road? Have you got like a mobile setup too?
I just got my first laptop that I've ever had in my life a couple months, or about a month ago. So I haven't really set it up to be like the road production unit yet. But I'm gearing up to do that right now. Yeah.
No, it's a great. I mean, they can do it now. That's what's so brilliant about this technology.
Yeah.
You can do this stuff. Fantastic. So I wanted to give you a chance maybe to tell me a little bit about the Smog setup and also Media Contender, because every time I see you, you're always kind of talking about Media Contender. You want to tell me a little bit about that? Is it a collective? I mean, how does it work?
Yeah, Smog and Media Contender, they're kind of separated brands. Smog is more of like a dubstep brand that one of my buddies from out here, he kind of came up with this idea of getting all the DJs who actually had even heard of the name dubstep at the time to kind of just form together, and whenever we needed to have a party, there was like a pool of DJs who were ready and willing to kind of play, and we could always talk to each other and send tunes back and forth and just kind of stay in the network, because there wasn't that much of a scene going. Right. And out of that scene that started to form, my manager started this other brand called Media Contender, which was kind of like the newsreel. The idea was to be like the Time magazine of like scene culture in not just Los Angeles, but around America, and also the plans were to expand to London and France and Canada, more or less. But the idea was to not just be a blog, but to be kind of like a site that always was informative about what was new, and not just, let's say, dubstep music, but like the style, the clothing, and the TV, and like the books that influenced it, and all that kind of stuff.
I know you're busy. I know it's very late. You're off on tour tomorrow. When do you get back? It's December sometime? It seems like a long time.
Yeah, I start a tour with Daedalus and Gaslamp Killer and Sam I Am called Magical Properties. That tour kicks off, and it's about 34 dates in USA and Canada. Or halfway through that tour, I leave to start another tour in Australia and New Zealand. It's my first time going out there.
Oh, you love it, man. It's great.
Yeah, going down under.
Listen, where's the best place for people to find, to keep up to date with what you're doing? Where can we point them?
The best place to find me is definitely myspace.com/infiltrator, or twitter.com/12planet, or my website, 12planet2012.com.
Listen, 12th Planet, thank you very much for your time. I hope you can get some rest now. You seem like one of the hardest working men around. So take care and have a great tour.
All right, shout to Sonicstate, man.
I use my blood to get through